Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most to start your girlfriends, wives, and especially your boyfriends and your husbands. A very warm welcome to yet another DCU Daily. And today we are watching, I think, Thursday's edition of the DCU Daily. You see, I'm so hungover from last night and Iron Appa, I don't even know what bloody day it is. So a very warm welcome. Here's a message for James Gunn. Hey, James Gunn. Kicking Superman in the crutch. Actually, let's just say how it is. Kicking Superman in the bollocks doesn't make him relatable. Having Superman beaten and battered for 120 movie minutes doesn't make him relatable. And the reason you did this is because you are a lazy writer, a lazy creative who couldn't be bothered to actually challenge Superman emotionally. When writers and filmmakers have challenged, and TV show makers and showrunners have challenged Superman emotionally, he's brought down to our level. Weakening him with kryptonite, beating him up doesn't bring him down to our level, but challenging him emotionally in the right way is the way to go. Now, James Gunn was too creatively lazy to do this. This is why Superman 2 and Smallville are probably two of the most popular kind of adaptions of the Superman character, because in Superman 2, he's challenged emotionally and physically, but the stark opposite in the way James Gunn challenged him physically. James Gunn is a male feminist. He would have enjoyed seeing a straight white male being beaten and battered for 120 minutes. He hates this character and he hates straight white males. That's another reason why he went this way. But that's the reason Superman 2 and Smallville are so relatable. Probably the most relatable versions of this Superman character, because in Smallville, Clark was brought down to our level emotionally, because Clark thinks like a human being. Physically, unfortunately, James Gunn doesn't understand this. Physically, weakening Superman is dumb. He's called Superman. He's not supposed to be physically weak, right? He's not everyday man. He's Superman. We want to see him beating 10 tons of shit out of people, using his heat vision, using his... And you did have him using his super breath in the movie, right? Cool. But we want to see him using all his powers and being ultra strong. And the way you make him relatable, the way you bring him down to our level, is by challenging him emotionally. Now, Superman 2 did this in a brilliant way. Superman 2 is probably one of the most popular Superman movies. Whether you like the theatrical version or the Donner cut, it doesn't really matter. Because there's a specific scene that I think brings Clark Kent, he's not Superman at this point, but Clark Kent to our level. And it's that moment in the cafe. He has sacrificed being Superman so he can have a relationship with Lois Lane. They go into the cafe. Clark goes into the bathroom. Then this meatball, this guy, this so-called hard man, takes Clark's seat. And he starts trying to chat up Lois Lane. Clark comes out of the room and says, "Excuse me, sir," very politely, "I think you're sitting in my seat." "Your seat's in there, Four Eyes." Clark's offended. But Clark isn't the man he was with his powers. And the human ego starts kicking in. "Excuse me, sir, would you like to step outside?" Repeats himself. "Excuse me, sir, would you like to step outside?" The moment I saw Clark beaten up by this ordinary human being made him so relatable. But this doesn't make James Gunn right, by the way, because the way James Gunn has him beaten up is for laughs, it's a mockery. But this is so emotionally degrading, emotionally and physically degrading for Clark Kent. He wants to show Lois that he's still a strong man, but Clark isn't stupid. He knows he can't really take this guy, but he loves her so much. And he's kind of taking on this Clark Kent persona psychologically. And Lois has always underestimated the Clark Kent persona. So he wants to show her that she's wrong. He gets the living shit kicked out of him, and you feel every punch and every kick when he pulls his hair, and when you see Clark bleeding from under his eyes. It's really, really powerful. But that isn't the end. Then the staff at the coffee shop, the cafe say, let's put the box on. He's gone now, let's calm down. Lois is trying to wipe the blood off of Clark. And then there's a news flash. This is the President of the United States. I'm handing over all control of the planet Earth to General Zod. Clark remembers the name from his teachings from his father, Jor-El. Zod. He's fallen in that he's made such a huge fucking mistake. For the love of another human being, he gave up being the people's god, hero. And now, this entity, Zod, Ursa and Non, are too powerful to stop. He has to go back to the fortress. He has to. I've got to go back. It's too late now. I have to try something, damn it. You didn't know this was going to happen. They knew. I heard them. I just didn't listen. If you haven't seen that fucking scene before, it's everything James Gunn's Superman isn't. Because Gunn attempts the same thing and it simply doesn't work. Because modern Hollywood directors don't have emotional nuance. They refuse to move the audience emotionally. Once you have the power to move someone emotionally, you have power to keep them in their cinema seat. And this is what they're unable to do today. This sequence is Superman 2 is everything. It makes him relatable. And you really want Superman to win this battle when he goes back to being Superman. The strong ones are just as strong as Superman. You feel it. All of a sudden, Superman is being challenged by physically stronger and evil people who are motivated to kill him and beat him and humiliate him because his father imprisoned them. So there's real nuance to this fight. But the underline to Superman 2 is commentary about standing up to bullies. Superman stands up to free bullies, especially General Zod, who is the biggest of bullies. It's not the same through line as the Man of Steel Zod and Superman. It is different. In Superman 2, Zod is simply an overbearing, physically strong bully. And Clark, Superman, has his hands full. And from that moment in the cafe, you're absolutely emotionally moved and you want Superman to kick the living shit out of these bullies. Superman 2 does everything that James Gunn's Superman attempts to do and fails at doing because it was made by people who were smarter. Now, Tom Mankiewicz perceived this whole thing, but he didn't write Superman 2 in the end. He backed out. He didn't finish writing Superman 2 because they fired Dick Donner, as we all know. But that's just a great example when Superman has felt utterly relatable. And I mentioned Smallville earlier. Smallville challenges Clark emotionally and brings him down to our level nearly in every episode in the show's existence. This is what makes Clark relatable in Smallville. It's why Superman 2 and why Smallville are the most relatable versions of Superman that there is in live action. People always say he's never been relatable in live action until James Gunn. Gunn never made him relatable. Gunn just had bright colours, bad gags, and Superman having the shit kicked out of him. But that moment in the cafe in Superman 2 is the real deal. They kind of tried to do the same thing in Superman and Lois, and I think they crashed and burned at it because Superman came across far too aggressive, or Clark did in that scene. I got it. It was done well, but it wasn't as effective as it was in that scene in Superman 2. My hero is hurting. My hero is weak. I want him to be strong again. I want him to be there to save us and to save the world. That moment in the cafe in Superman 2 is the way it should be fucking done. Not the way that James Gunn actually did it. Because you he's either refused to do it properly because he wants to mock a straight white male superhero, right? He argues we can't have a Green Arrow in the DCU if we've got a super strong Superman. As I said the other day, that's total bollocks yet again, James. Because I explained yesterday, didn't I? Superman can't be. He's not the Flash. He can't be everywhere. And not even the Flash can be everywhere, right? At the same, well, if he moves really fast and he splits time and stuff, I suppose there can be different multiple versions of the Flash. But Superman isn't the Flash. This is what people don't understand about the tornado sequence in Man of Steel. He can move fast, but at that moment in Man of Steel, I don't think he even knows that he's got super speed. He's really only just getting in touch with his strength. And the detractors, of course, know this, but they're just looking for ways to bring this film down for their own reasons and their perceptions. But yeah, that's how you make Superman relatable. People, I've heard comic book writers say it's difficult to make him relatable. No. And you know what? For years they were saying that. Then Smallville made them look fucking stupid by challenging the character emotionally. But it had been done so many times, you know, before that. And in comics, but Superman 2, that very moment in Superman 2, two moments actually, when he gives up his powers and he walks out in his white shirt and trousers, and in that cafe, he becomes utterly relatable. He becomes a person over a Superman for a brief moment. Gunn tries to make him a super wimp for 120 minutes of a film. Why am I going to see a film called Superman if my hero is being depowered because of James Gunn's fucking ego? He takes a film and focuses it around a fucking dog. And the CGI dog at that. No, Superman 2 got it absolutely right. Smallville got it absolutely right. You humble the character, you bring him down to earth by challenging him emotionally and not kicking him in the bollocks. But you can't tell these modern day creatives that. Their industry is on its knees. They're on the verge of bankruptcy. They're pretty much going bankrupt as we speak because they have refused to move the audience emotionally. And I'm going to make one little declaration to you all now, including Mr. James Gunn and the con artist and the used car salespeople working in Western English-speaking entertainment today. You can shove your IMAX cameras and your CGI up your jackses, up your asses. I don't want that. Give me Christopher Reeve's Superman. Give me Scott Bakula's Sam Beckett. I keep on rewatching Quantum Leap as I keep on telling you, right? And I want Tom Welling's Clark Kent as well. But I tell you what, Scott Bakula's Sam Beckett is the hero my nephews need and your sons need today. Instead of some wanker talking on the internet about disrespecting women, and I keep on saying it, we need a Sam Beckett that taught my generation to be better than we were. A show that moved people emotionally. It was about a friendship between two men, Sam and Al. The guy sacrifices his whole future for his friend Al and chooses to be stuck in time so his friend can find his wife again. Yes, we need to be moved again. We don't need IMAX cameras and CGI. We don't need technology because that's the problem. We're focusing on the visual instead of the story. Instead of emotionally uplifting people, we're focusing on the visual. And to be honest, James Gunn barely focuses on good visuals either. So yes, the reason we love Smallville, the reason we love Superman 2 is because Superman, Clark Kent, becomes a person, not someone who's bullied and battered for 120 minutes. People like James Gunn don't get it. Some of you people have put this man on a pedestal. And what I'm saying is, it's time to get my feet and kick him off that pedestal so he falls flat on his face. But whatever happens, however well or badly in the box office this film finishes off at, James Gunn and his army will spin it.